This is Brittany Slays from Unleash the Archers.
Hi, this is Mark from Dragon Force.
I'm Greg Browning from Crimson Shadows.
This is Vicky Sarakis from The Agonist.
Hey guys, this is Thomas from Camelot, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast. Crank it up.
Hey podcast listeners, prepare to breathe the inspiration in, because we have Charlotte Wessels, singer and lyricist for the Dutch symphonic metal band Delain, with us today. Charlotte, it's so great to see you back in the U.S. again. Before we talk about the excitement of the current tour, let's talk about your new EP Lunar Prelude, just released last Friday. How long has that been in the works?
Well, the EP came about because, we're touring a lot these days. We're touring basically more than ever. So our writing and recording methods kind of changed. Whereas first we would write an album and take a few months, take a lot of time to really write and record and produce everything. Now we don't really have that kind of time because we're never home for that long. So what we've done is we basically cut up the production process in different chunks, with the result that by now, even though, we still have some writing and recording to go, we already have some songs in a very good shape. Now, another thing is that we have been touring so much that for us, it's really nice to be able to play a lot of the songs that we've been writing and already, let everybody know what we're working on, because, we don't want to get repetitive and playing the same songs. So basically the EP was a very nice opportunity for us to let everybody know what we're working on. I think these songs were written somewhere last year already, so it also feels like they kind of have to get out now because we've been chewing on them for a very long time. And so I'm happy that it's finally out, and it's wonderful playing the new songs live.
Let's talk about those songs. You have two brand new tracks, Suckerpunch and Turn the Lights Out. Tell us just a little bit about those.
So I think that Suckerpunch is the very first song that we finished writing and recording, and there's always something about that first track that's special for us as a band. I remember that Stardust 2 was the first song that we kind of written and recorded for The Human Contradiction, and again here, this was the first song where we really had this yes feeling, okay, this is what we want to do. It's a very positive track. It's very upbeat, it's a song about basically facing your own demons and taking them down. And, I think that's a pretty positive and powerful message for a first single to come off a thing like this. Turn the Lights Out, totally different story. For me, lyrically, the inspiration really came from, so I'm a big reader, I love to read, and Neil Gaiman is one of my very favorite writers. He had this DC comic series called The Sandman, in which there was a personification of death, which was very, very different from, a lot of other Western personifications of death. They're all scary and thin and, angry. But in the Sandman series, Death is a young goth woman, and she's very empathic, and she's very kind in her task. And it's a wonderful, wonderful character, and it works its way so nice into the lyrics. So it's a more moody song, it's a more dark song, obviously, as it's about death. I'm still wondering why people call us a goth band. But and here's a song about death. No, So that's more kind of the inspiration behind that track. Yeah.
And you also have reworked Don't Let Go, which was on my copy of The Human Contradiction, a bonus track.
Yeah, the thing is, since it was a bonus track, we never really give it full treatment. All the drums are programmed, and we mixed it later on in the process, and we thought it would be interesting to give it kind of a proper reworking, so that it's more organic and that it's more, on the lines of what we would usually do. And we did.
And you also have a number of Delain tracks from The Human Contradiction live on here. How did you select those?
Well, to be honest, that wasn't too difficult because we had some shows where we could really set up the recording, and then of course there is some shows where you play them very well, and some songs the execution is less. We knew that we wanted to have the Human Contradiction songs, and also we kind of select through. You know, I'm not sure if you can really hear it, but you know, the audience response. I feel that, you know, whether it was a cool gig or not, you also hear that. Fortunately, on our latest headline tour, we recorded those. I don't remember like a bad atmosphere gig at all, so that didn't make things easier. But yeah, it wasn't too hard to come to these tracks.
Well, I think this is a great value. When I hear EP, I'm thinking 2 or 3 songs, and you've given a full 35 minutes worth of music to your fans. What's been the response? I know it's just been out for a few days.
I think so far the response has been very positive. People seem to be really liking the new tracks, which for us is very nice and a confirmation of the direction that we're going for the album. And, you know, the only really negative remarks we get is like, you know, this tastes like more. It's basically the people who won't settle for just 2 new songs. And, you know, I can't really disagree with them, you know. So that's why we're working very hard to have the full album very soon.
Well, turning to the current tour, you're back in the States with Nighwish as well as Sonata Arctica. And it seems like a new tour with old friends.
Yeah, that's actually how it feels too. I mean, we've been touring with Nighwish, we've been touring with Sonata, and it kind of feels like a reunion, you know, because we've been doing a round like this before, and for me personally, like, I think there's a great comfort in touring with people that you know, that you've met before, that you kind of understand each other's routines, and yeah, I think that's a very, very nice given. Of course, it's always excited to meet new people and new bands, but yeah, it's so nice that on day 1 of a tour you feel at home immediately, you know.
Speaking of new friends, you brought a new band member with you this time around, Meryl from Purest of Pain and other projects. Beyond just more guitar on stage, what does Meryl bring to the mix?
Well, actually, the more guitar on stage, it's not like, you know, just to have that double guitars. It's really that when we write our songs, we don't consider, okay, so we've got 6 or 12 or 20 guitars recorded, how are we going to do that live? You know, when we focus on the writing of the album, we focus on the album itself. So what happened more than one time is actually that we've written a song, and that live with only one guitarist, it just wouldn't sound proper. And there is a lot of songs, I think that Lullaby from The Human Contradiction is one of the best examples, that we've been playing recently since we have Meryl with us, because with 2 guitars you can actually do, you know, you can do all the ambience things, and you can you can really make it work. So we've actually been able to expand our set list a great lot because of that. When it comes to, you know, the kind of dynamics in the band itself, also with the writing, this is something, of course, Martijn and I have been writing for 10 years together. So when something new comes into the band, that's always something that takes time to develop. But I mean, she's very, very, very talented and enthusiastic. So I'm very excited to see where that is going. And yeah, finally, I mean, for us, it's just very nice that she fits into the group very well. I mean, we're on tour in a bandwagon like this, you know, rather small, and we're on top of each other the entire time. So it's actually very nice to you know, to have someone that fits the family, so to speak.
Charlotte, when we last spoke, we talked about your contribution to some other bands like Camelot, but since then you've unveiled an entirely new collaboration with Phantasma.
Yes. Yeah, you'd think with all that touring that you wouldn't have the time for, you know, side projects like that, but this was a rather interesting one, and I'm very proud of, you know, having written my first novel for it, and it's been received well, so I'm excited about it.
And many fans brought you their paper cranes?
Actually, yes. Like, they're bringing them on this tour, so that's. I'm thinking of making like a big curtain of them or something. Yeah.
Well, getting back to Delain, we have a couple of fan questions. Christina from Spain has a two-part question. She asks, what bands would you like to play with on upcoming tours, and what countries would you like to return to?
I would love to return to Japan. This is the first one on my mind. We've played there once, and it was a great experience, and I really enjoy the culture and just the country and the sights. And so that's one that I'm really hoping to return to. As for bands, we've been touring with amazing bands, and like I mentioned before, it's really exciting meeting new bands, but to be honest, I'm always happy to, go on the road with bands that I know as well. Yeah, it would be fun to maybe, a band like Lacuna Coil or something. I really love their tracks. But in general, we're very lucky with, the bands that we've toured with. Also on our headline tour, when we toured with the Gentle Storm, it was really cool. So, yeah.
Another question, Bridget from Richmond, Kentucky asks, what fans can expect, I guess, sound-wise, from the next Delain record?
I think that, in the production of it will be pretty similar to the Human Contradiction. We really like the mix and master there, so we'll probably turn to the same people. Same goes, actually, for the orchestrations, like Mika Mustonen. We actually met him for the first time on this tour. Because, these days you work a lot over the interwebs. And we've worked with him on the Human Contradiction for the first time, and we really loved what he did there. And so we worked with him for the EP as well, and I think that he might do some more tracks for the upcoming album as well. As for the thematics of everything, I don't know why. I'm generally in a good mood, but it will probably be a rather dark album. And maybe that's something, that I say with every album, but because sometimes you kind of surprise yourself with what comes out. And yeah, like I mentioned, one of the first songs is about death itself. So I think that it will be, yeah.
A question we didn't get, but one I think is probably on the minds of many North America fans, is when might we in the future see a Delain headlining tour in the States?
Well, we were told that you need to do like 5 support tours until you can do something like that in the U.S. and we're number 4 now. So we're working to get there, and we're working to get there pretty soon. And perhaps if we can work on something like maybe a double bill, then it might even be sooner than So yeah, as soon as possible if it's up to us, for sure.
Well, finally, Charlotte, please remind our listeners where they need to go to get their hands on this Lunar Prelude EP, as well as Delain's back catalog of music and merchandise.
You will find all of our things on Delain.nl. We've got like a Dutch and international web shop there, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find what you need over there.
And Napalm Records has both Lunar Prelude as well as Phantasma's Deviant Hearts.
That's true, yeah.
And fans can pick up merchandise when they come out to see you with Nightwish on this current tour.
Yeah, and I mean, so far we've been going out to the merch after every gig. I always enjoy that moment. Tonight will be no different, and probably later on this tour it will also not be different. So yeah, if people want to come and meet us and say hi, we'd love that.
And I can speak to how fan-friendly this band is. I was really touched at tonight's show when you recognized a fan who had been to 200 different Delain performances. That was amazing, Charlotte.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Like that kind of thing. If you stand still and try to consider that, it's an amazing thing. So we're really lucky to have such a devoted scene of people around us, for sure.
Charlotte, thank you again for the time, and best of luck on the upcoming tour.
Thank you very much.